Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a replay that was sent in by Lightninger in his Kahabarovsk. It is a tier 10 ranked battle. This is a game he sent me on, with the understanding basically that this was going to be a public replay analysis. And we're going to kick this thing off. For starters, he's got his own YouTube channel. Check it out. He does a lot of operations. And is a really good resource for you guys to use for information and that. So I definitely recommend checking out his account, his YouTube channel. I'll link it in the video description below if you're interested in finding anything out about the operation. So, getting back to the game. The enemy team, enemy Midway, Montana, Des Moines, Worcester, Smolensk, Gearing, Z52, and Shima. Right out of the gate, he's in a Kaba. His build is very different than my build. I'll go over that at the end of the battle with some general ideas about the build and go from there. I gotta say though, right out of the gate, this is going to be a pretty solid game as far as Kabas are concerned. Right out of the gate though, I dislike this. Enemy Midway right now is just looking for a DD, and he's spotted those planes all the way up there. You need to respect those planes. You really should be back in here, or still back by your Des Moines. So, what ends up happening here, you get dropped multiple times. Now, this one in particular concerned me because you turn, you're giving up your stern, and he's able to drop the length of your ship. That's the real danger zone where those dive bombers can take a third or more of your HP off, and it can be a really bad situation. Here, you do the right thing. You're starting to turn across the drop pattern, and you can see the drop pattern right there. Spend some time on Twitch watching a guy play CVs if you're not familiar with the bombing reticle pattern. Because there's ways to dodge where you can mitigate a lot of the damage as far as the bombers and rockets are concerned. Now the issue here is he doesn't have enough AA. He's not close enough to allies. If you guys watch my videos, I like to try to keep allied support. You know, in this case, I probably would have been about 4 kilometers off the Des Moines, off the Kremlin, and kept falling back towards those guys if that CV keeps trying to attack me. And the reason for that is every time that CV attacks and he kind of circles back around to hit you again, when he does that sharp turn, he loses a lot of his ability to dodge flak. So if you can bait that guy into doing that inside allied flak range, his squad gets torn to pieces, and he's not really going to be able to sustain these sustained air attacks against you. Right now, you're just trying to rep through a lot of this, and you're doing a pretty good job at staying alive right now. But I think this is an area where I think that you could do better. Like right now, you're just now getting into range where you can see the AA from the Kremlin start kicking in. And again, as soon as that plane goes to come out and circle around, the rest of that squad starts getting shot down by Kremlin AA. So use your allied AA. You've got 13.5 kilometer gun range, and use that to your advantage, and pay attention. Like you can see right now, okay, we need to look to see where the planes are going to pop up. We don't want to get too far away from support. Okay, so we're pushing back in. We haven't seen planes yet, so we don't know where the enemy CV is going yet. Okay, he's got planes on BCAP. This is your time to push out there and start making some plays for your team. You're already doing that on the Smolensk. This is good. I would just be worried that if that CV had come back north, you potentially could be dealing with the CV and the Smolensk at relatively close range, and that can be a lot. You're doing a good job here mitigating the damage. Part of this is just trying to keep things lit for your team. You'll make people get distracted. This guy, when he's zoomed in, shooting at you over and over again, potentially you can force this guy into a situation where he exposes too much of his ship to an ally and just gets wrecked. Now, one of the build differences between Lightninger's build and mine is I run AFT, obviously, for the range like he is. He's running Concealment, so he's going to be more effective, playing the destroyer escort game. For example, sailing with his gearing and just bullying other destroyers that that gearing spots and picks a fight. My build, on the flip side, is geared towards killing cruisers with IFHE. And some differences here. Now, this I don't like. This is really dangerous, especially because your CV drops the fighter over the Kremlin. That's going to encourage this CV. Do I potentially want to lose this squad of dive bombers trying to drop a Kremlin that he's most likely just going to be able to instant repair the fires? I know there's a Kaba up here somewhere that I've been able to drop multiple times. Maybe I'll come find him. And why I feel that that's dangerous is, again, you're pushing this Smolensk at the same time, and this is that 1-2 punch that you're gonna need to start getting lucky or be really good, because you're gonna have a lot of heat coming at you very shortly. Okay, again, you're running with the bombers, and you're just getting lucky that RNG hasn't nailed you with 2 or 3 bomb hits in a drop pattern. So just keep that in mind, because that can get really nasty. Now, this Des Moines, you really need to use AP here. Your HE is not gonna deal significant damage to that guy. AP at this range can deal 3-4K damage to that Des Moines. So just something to consider. I think that AP would be a better choice there with your build. Now, looks like the CV's bringing torpedo bombers. Torpedo bombers are kind of not really a threat to you unless you're really distracted or really under focus fire, where the torpedo planes can limit your ability to dodge. It's pretty clear the CV is going for the Kremlin, so you get an opportunity to push up here. And again, this can be really risky, pushing in here like this with the Smolensk. They do have the hydro. He is smoked up. And your torpedoes are pretty damn close to his hydro range. So it's one of those things that I see the play coming, and this gets risky. I mean, I've seen nothing to indicate that this guy has used his hydro and his hydro's down, and that to me makes this a risky play. You're not going to YOLO in there and try to torp him, which I feel is the correct play. And you're not going to hang around here. You're just going to drop those torps and you're going to start bailing, which is a good thing. You do get radared by the Des Moines. Now, this I think actually feeds into your torpedoes, because this is going to make that Smolensk actually start reversing, and to try to get a line of fire on you. And my bet is that's what brings these torpedo hits on. Is bam. You were acting like bait right there. This Smolensk saw you and he was like, I'm gonna line this guy up and wreck this guy. So it turned out to be a really good ambush. Just really risky from my perspective. Now, this sort of engagement, this is where my build shines on the Russian DDs with IFHE. Hitting the bows, stern, stuff like that. You can easily be doing, 2-3K or even more. So, something to consider. It's just really difficult to try to punish an angled U.S. cruiser, simply because your guns just don't have the pin that's needed to get through the 27mm plating. Now, had AA turned on, I think this could have hurt you if this DD had jumped all over shooting you. You didn't panic and you didn't open up. And I feel that's the correct play, because beaching like that really gives that Worcester an opportunity to hammer you. And this guy's definitely showing a vested interest in trying to kill you. You know you're not spotted by the gearing, and you're able to pick up the kill there, and that pretty much seals the deal on this southern cap. You're going to be able to push up here. Again, I would probably use AP here. Broadside cruisers, if you don't have IFHE, you're shattering half of your shells. So, again, consider your ammo type usage to be a little more efficient, dealing maximum damage per volley. So, we know Z-52 is somewhere out there. It doesn't appear he's been spotted in a while. The smart play is the enemy team starts falling back. They win in 5 minutes. If they're able to consolidate and kind of work with the CV to focus one of you guys down, it's going to put you in that much more of a precarious situation. But it looks like their Montana is losing his mind. He's rushing into a Smolensk, a healthy Smolensk at that, as well as, your Midway is able to put the Kremlin down. So, still really uphill game right now. So the ideal thing would be you run into the Z-52 up here somewhere. You lucky duck. You lucky duck. Oh! Good shots. Nice, keep it up. You're on him. Beautiful work. Excellent work firing into smoke like that. And you spot the CV. Yeah. Now, gonna pause it right here because something to consider with your build. You've got your speed boost active. Watch these planes. If he hasn't engaged his attack run beforehand, keep your AA shut off. You can actually sail right into him, and you can. I call it hugging the belt on the planes. Basically, get inside his arming distance, where he can't actually get an accurate drop off on you, and you're able to force this guy into, making this turn situation. Now, on your build, you're running the accuracy mod. For this specific scenario, I actually run AA guns too, because every time those CVs circle, I want that as much flak out there, doing as much work as I can, because if I'm out there dodging and driving erratically, this CV's got to try to he's got to try to work around my evasive maneuvers, and that's gonna make it harder for him to dodge flak, which is going to make him take increased plane damage as well. Um, but you're starting to enter this, nasty phase of fighting a CV where the CV knows he's spotted, he knows right where you're at, and they can just keep sending planes, bam, 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 right at you, one right after another. So this is a very dangerous situation, um, especially because you're without IFHE, you're probably going to shatter a lot of HE on this. Okay, you're not actually shattering a lot. This is looking good. Okay, are starting to get some shatters on the deck. One thing that might work out would be potentially using AP in this scenario for the higher DPM, simply because you're not getting that much in the way of fire damage. I mean, you got a fire there, instant DCP. We're lucky he's sending torpedo planes after you now. Torpedo planes are next to useless. Now, one thing is you're starting to get pushed outside of your max gun range, so I would just dodge these torps and just slow down here. Make sure your torpedo's safe, just dodge the torpedoes and stay inside gun range. Keep your DPM going, because you're right. Yeah, you just exited gun range right now, and now you've got rocket planes coming back in. There you go. You're focusing your AA. You're doing a good job there. Watch that turn that you make with the rocket planes coming in, where you turn and you get broadside at the last minute. That really starts to open up your ship. I find that it's better in a lot of cases to actually try to turn in at the last second and try to make yourself a little bit smaller target. Just my experiences trying to dodge rocket planes, but excellent game staying alive with the CV on you as much as he was. That's some impressive work there. So going over the build differences, I guess I should have had my build pulled up here as well. I'll get my build going so we can compare and contrast next to each other. But some of the things that you're going to notice is he's definitely running more of a concealment focus build, and the effect that that's going to have on the ship is pretty dramatic when it comes to escorting destroyers and being able to just get closer into the action. Basic arithmetic, for example. My build has a 9.7 kilometer concealment, and whereas his build, he's down to 7.8. 0.86 kilometers. And while that may sound, not that different, um, that 2 kilometers makes a very big difference when it comes to um, the accuracy of your guns engaging other destroyers. Um, it gets you in, really effective range um, when it comes to engaging enemy destroyers. Somewhere around the 9 to 10 kilometer range as opposed to the 10 to 11 kilometer range with my build is most likely the kind of shots that he's going to see, with most likely shots being somewhere around 8 and 9 kilometers. And at those distances, Kaba is just going to shred destroyers, and it's going to be highly effective. Um, Now, in this case, he wasn't really playing this as a destroyer escort, and I think that my build would have helped him out with all the shooting he was doing at cruisers, um, as far as being able to get that pen damage on the 25 and 27 millimeter plate from the Smolensk, the Des Moines, uh, that he spent a lot of time shooting at. So gonna go ahead and drag my build down here. Sorry guys. Uh, just for those not familiar with, this kind of stuff goes to show some of the versatility between the builds here. Talk about I talked about my build entirely. Another one that I see all the time that guys are running is the legendary build with a lot of times they'll run IFHE still for the pen damage on cruisers, but they'll run smoke, and they'll play this more as like a really fast, uh, almost like a really fast Smolensk, basically. And I see this build used frequently. Um, I might test this build. I'm just about ready to unlock the legendary upgrade for this ship. Uh, I don't like the rudder shift with it, but I might be able to work with it. You just gotta really get into the person's mind and just start trying to start your dodging well before they're really able to shoot at you, and especially really just getting good positions on your smoke. You can really do a significant amount of damage just with one smoke screen with this build. I mean, you're talking about a 3.7 second reload on Kaba, where you can be dealing 4K damage to, a Des Moines every 3.7 seconds. It gets nutty. But just using this section of the video just to talk about some of the options with Kaba, as far as viable builds. Getting back to the end plates in Lightninger's game, 86,000 damage, whole slew of planes shot down. Um, like I said, really good job staying alive. Some clutch kills here on the destroyers, keeping his team in the game. The also really good opportunity to get this CV lit and just kind of bring the game home. Um, that was important. If he would have gotten killed by the CV, um, I think at that point his team still probably could have won that, but it might have been able. It might have been a lot. It would have been a lot closer. Um, so just really solid performance there. 2.3 base XP. Anytime you can top 2K base XP, it's been a really good game. 32 plane kills. You gotta love it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Definitely check out Lightninger's site. I do quite frequently, just to kind of stay on top of what's going on with new operations, and um, got a really good channel. So uh, thank you, Lightninger, for sending me the replay. I have been curious to see different ways to play ships as opposed to what I've been doing, and definitely definitely encourages learning when at least for myself, seeing how what other people are doing with ships. So I do thank you and I appreciate it. Um, if anybody has any questions or comments, leave them below. I hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you later.